Sitting on the last bit of Indian rock, I hit upon a plan. Go from village to village, better the condition of all. Have to give back to the nation its lost individuality and raise the masses.
Hello and welcome to Raj Sabha TV's special presentation on 50 years of Vivekanand Rock Memorial of Kanyakumari. It's this very place where it's said that Swami Vivekanand got its enlightenment and embarked on a path of virtuosity. So what is the history of this incredible national monument and how it's a reflective of India's diversity? We'll find out in this special feature.
It was December 24th of the year 1892. A 29-year-old wandering monk, Narendranath Datta, reached the culmination of his passage at Kanyakumari, the southernmost point of Indian mainland. The passage which taught him the meaning of his life and a quest to embark upon another journey, an endless one.
The Vivekananda Rock Memorial was built in Kanyakumari, on the spot where Swami Vivekananda meditated for 3 days and 3 nights in the year 1892, on December 26, 27, 28. This is the spot where Swami Vivekananda got the mission of his life.
When he reached Kanyakumari, as you know, Kanyakumari is the southernmost tip of India. So he felt that now from here it is only going back, returning. But what is it that I should do to raise my people? So with that question, which was tormenting in his heart, he went on that rock and meditated for 3 days and 3 nights. Now this was a very unique meditation, a sannyasi not meditating for his salvation, for mukti, for God realization, but he was meditating, asking this question, what is it that I should do for my people? And that is where he took the decision. That's why this meditation became so celebrated meditation. Because there he took the decision that I shall go to America, I shall participate in the Parliament of Religions.
It was soon after his brief yet decisive stay at this temple town of Tamil Nadu, the world would call this monk Vivekanand, standing for the bliss of discerning wisdom. Born on 12 January 1863 in Calcutta, Narendranath was drawn to spirituality from a fairly young age. And a turning point in his life came after he met Mahendra Ramakrishnan Paramhans, a highly respected Hindu ascetic, in the year 1884.
Swami Vivekananda, his guru had told him that you have to go, that is, you should not only think about yourself sitting in samadhi, but you have to work for the people, you have to go and work for the people. So if I have to work for the people, I should know what is the condition of my people, my society, what are their needs. So to know that, Swamiji went all around the country as a Parivrajaka. Parivrajaka means he did not take any money in the hand. Whenever he felt hungry, he asked for food. If he got, he ate, otherwise he slept empty stomach. If anyone invited in his house, then he stayed there. But because of his knowledge, many times his fame would reach even the kings. So even kings would invite him. He may go there, but again after a few days he would start walking. So he met the kings, the pauper, the learned, the so-called uneducated, the villager, the city dwellers, and went round the whole country. Now as he started going round, he saw the degradation of our country in those days. A great land of wealth, land of wisdom, a land of rishis and saints who had told that the each soul is potentially divine and we have to go and work for the well-being of the whole humanity. Krunvanto Vishwamaryam. So the children of those rishis and munis were in a very pitiable condition. India was slave, India was in poverty, in ignorance, we had lost all the self-confidence. So that pained Swamiji so much.
As the plight of ordinary people stirred him, he continued with his passage and reached the southernmost point of the country of a subcontinent, Kanyakumari. It is said the spiritual power of the rock at the symbolic feet of motherland drew Swami Vivekananda here.
So why did Swami Vivekananda came to Kanyakumari to meditate, to learn the spiritual lesson? To get the answer of this question, we have to understand the very place itself, named after a Hindu deity, a temple town. This city may be a part of a lost landmass of the mainland India, but it's a beginning of a new journey to spirituality.
It was here, on this rock, where his memorial stands today, Swami Vivekananda meditated for 3 days and 3 nights. The meditation was not for his salvation, but for recovering the people of India from distress.
So when he prayed to Bhagavati Kanyakumari, he saw that rock in the sea, twin rock, and he asked the people whether anything special of that rock, because he felt that rock attracted him. And then people told him here Mother Kanyakumari had meditated for Shiva. So Parvati, born as Kanyakumari in southernmost tip, meditating for Shiva who is in Kailasa, that is Himalayas. It means the whole India, whole Bharat was in her penance. So Swamiji felt even if I also go and meditate there, I may get solution to my questions. And that's how he chose to go and meditate there.
So you will find the footprint of goddess Parvati on the rock. In fact, Swami Vivekananda went to the rock to see that footprint. And when he went and sat there, seeing the footprint, he went into meditation. And that meditation was about India. Why India has become, once upon a time it was a great glorious nation, why it has fallen to the so low. He has used the word degradation. So that is why the Vivekananda Rock Memorial was constructed on that spot.
Today, Kanyakumari is a bustling settlement, a pilgrimage place for devotees, a destination for travelers. A tip of a landmass where the waters of 2 seas meets the ocean, a sangam which has earned cultural significance through the eras. And on Swami Vivekananda's birth centenary in the year 1963, a small movement by the residents of Kanyakumari picked pace to construct his memorial on a very rock.
Birth centenary was being celebrated for Swami Vivekananda all through the country. The people of Kanyakumari felt that this rock has that great importance as perhaps we can say the Bodhi tree has importance in the life of Buddha, and therefore we should have a memorial here, and that's how the plan for memorial was done. Then there were some obstacles, difficulties, because some said no, here some other memorial should come, and then it started becoming political issue. So the Chief Minister said that I accept this is Vivekananda rock, because Swami Vivekananda has mentioned in his letter that sitting on the last bit of Indian rock, I hit upon a plan.
It was constructed to perpetuate Swami Vivekananda's meditation on the rock. And when the work was started, construction work was started, there were some problems. We had to face some local problems. But by the grace of God, all those problems were solved. And with the help of the state government and the central government and the members of the parliament, in those days there were 323 members of parliament, we could get permission to construct such a beautiful memorial there.
Eknath Ranade, a popular social activist, was the leading light in the construction of the memorial. The memorial, which was ready in 1970, is also a story of one man's ceaseless effort to spread the teachings and purpose of Vivekananda's life far and wide across the nation. While there were obstacles in the way, ranging from local to objections at the level of the state and central government, Ranade secured the signatures of 323 MPs. The project, whose foundation was laid by a small group of Vivekananda's followers, has now brought together a large gamut of social and political forces, irrespective of the political or religious affiliations.
Cutting across all the party lines, he went and approached all the members of the parliament present in Delhi at that time, and that's how he could secure the signatures of 323 MPs. When Lal Bahadur Shastri told him that you bring some memorandum within 3 days, that's what Eknathji he brought it. So when Nehruji was asked by journalist, what is it you have got to say about this? Then he said, if 323 MPs are telling, it means the whole nation is aspiring for it. And it is cutting across all the lines, regions, religions, all party lines, cutting across, they have signed for it.
Once the permission was secured, the churning began on where the money for such a memorial will come from. In a bid to get this constructed, Eknath Ranade went far and wide, collecting ₹1 donation door to door from ordinary citizens of the country, and even knocking at the doors in the corridors of power in New Delhi as well as across the states.
See, our founder Eknathji Ranade, who was instrumental in constructing the Vivekananda Rock Memorial, he wanted the participation of the entire country, population of this country. He said, this is not a, see, this memorial could have been built by some 3-4 industrialists together, but he didn't want. He said, this memorial of Swami Vivekananda is for the youth of India, for the people of India. So he decided to collect money by way of ₹1 coupon.
Eknathji planned that we shall collect ₹1 from the people, and that's how 85 lakhs was collected. Then he contacted all the state governments, and irrespective of whatever party was in power, all the state governments in those days, whether it was Hokeshi Sema's government of Nagaland or whether it was Sheikh Abdullah's government in Jammu and Kashmir, all the state governments contributed almost near about 1 lakh rupees for this. Central government gave 15 lakhs and some other few donations. This grand memorial worth of 1 crore 30 lakhs in those days was built.
As the construction began for this grand mid-sea edifice, thoughts were poured on how best to design the memorial, which will reflect a harmonious blend of India's extraordinary architectural and sculptural treasures.
This is the main mandap of Vivekananda Rock Memorial. It's a place where Swami Vivekananda meditated for 3 days while exploring several facets of the country. Well, true to his vision, This place, this mandap, is reflective of art, architecture, layout, which is inspired from several classical buildings and monuments of India. The very idea to have depictions from several other monuments was to make it look a true national monument.
Master architect S.K. Achari was chosen to design the project, but it was Paramacharya of Kanchi Kamakoti Peetham, Chandrasekharendra Saraswati, who took immense interest in the project.
See, Paramacharya, when he sat with the Sthapati, Shri S.K. Achari, he said that it is a memorial, it's not a temple. So, its architecture should be temple-like, but not exactly temple. So, in our tradition, that description is there, means how it should be. Then later what Eknathji did, Eknathji asked Shri S.K. Achari to go and visit certain parts. So, like Belur Math of Ramakrishna Mission, Ajanta Ellora carvings and paintings. And of course, he was well versed in Chola and Pallava architecture. So, that is how the whole memorial is a harmonious blending of Chola, Pallava, Belur and also Ajanta Ellora designs in it.
See, the Vivekananda Memorial, it is not a temple. It is a combination of the traditional memorials of Tamil Nadu, and it is borrowed some from different places like Ajanta Ellora, and also from the Ramakrishna Mission Belur Math temple of Sri Ramakrishna. And this plan was prepared by one traditional architect of Tamil Nadu, Sri S.K. Achari.
Several of architectural motifs, the layout and the spread of the memorial that we see today were thought of by Kanchipeeth Paramacharya and beautifully carved by worksmen under the leadership of architect S.K. Achari.
And fortunately it so happened that Paramacharya took lot of interest in this. He called the traditional Sthapati, he made a design for this memorial. And when Eknathji went and showed this to Bhaktavatsalam, he said that Paramacharya has designed it, then you go ahead with this. So Eknathji said, but there is some difficulty, this is slightly bigger. He said, okay, you can go ahead with it. So that slightly bigger means it was 130 feet by 56 feet. So that's how the permission was received for Sabha Mandapam. Then gradually he sought permission for Sripada Mandapam, that is where Kanyakumari Devi's footprint is there, because of which Swamiji had gone and meditated there.
An unmissable architectural element of the memorial is the correlation between the height of Vivekananda's statue to the position of feet at the sanctum sanctorum of Parvati Mandir. The gaze of Swami Vivekananda's eyes fall directly at Goddess Parvati's feet.
It is about 7 feet 4 inches or something like that, and it falls exactly under Mother's Ma Parvati's the footprint. It is those people who have visited that one, they can understand that. So Eknathji wanted, because Swamiji went to rock to see Ma's footprint. So he wanted Eknathji Ranade, who is instrumental for construction Vivekananda Rock Memorial, he wanted to see that Swamiji's eyes, both the eyes, fall at the feet of Mother. That is how the statue is arranged there. and the height also is adjusted accordingly.
Lying at the southernmost part of mainland India, Vivekanand Rock Memorial is today a popular tourist destination. At the same time, it's also a center of spirituality and meditation, a center of higher learning. Lying adjacent to Triveni Sangam, where waters of 3 different seas merges into one.
The Grand Memorial was finally inaugurated on 2nd September 1970 by then President of India, V.V. Giri. Since then, it has expanded into a multifold edifice, a spot where the land of one of ancient-most civilization ends and her diverse waters take over, embarking on an everlasting journey of higher learning and introspection. A meditation done here, it's said, is akin to be surrounded by pious vibrations.
Whosoever comes there should meditate and also see that the story of my life should not be only the story of maintenance. That is, I lived only for myself. I only maintained myself, maybe very well, but I only maintained. So, what is that purpose of my life? What is it that if I do, my life will be purposeful? A person should come and meditate. That's why that meditation room is there, and many people, their experience is that when they sit there, they really become very calm and quiet, and they feel the vibrations of Swamiji even today.
In years after its foundation, the Vivekanand Rock Memorial gave way to establishment of Living Memorial, Vivekanand Kendra, a vehicle carrying forward the teachings of Vedanta and interfaith harmony. Giving a closer glimpse into the life and principles of Swami Vivekanand.
The significance of this 50 year is again to remind the youth of India, that Swami Vivekananda is a youth icon for this country. And this Vivekananda Memorial 50th year is a reminder to the youth of India, because of 50 year, a generation has gone. When it was constructed in 1970 and that was a different time. Today, the youth of India is on a different generation. See, there is a generation gap. What was there 50 years ago and what is today is different.
This memorial is, as I told you, not just a building. It reflects the aspirations, desire of whole nation. It's respect for Swami Vivekananda. That is why when memorial was getting completed, it was felt that Swami Vivekananda's memorial cannot be limited only to granite memorial. It has to be in the lives of young men and women who want to dedicate their life for the country. As Swami Vivekananda had told, 100,000 men and women fired with the zeal of holiness, fortified with the eternal faith in Lord. And then he says, nor to the lion's courage, by their sympathy for the poor and the fallen and the downtrodden, shall go to the length and breadth of this country, preaching the gospel of equality, gospel of social raising up, gospel of help. So, it was felt by Vivekananda Rock Memorial Committee, led by Eknathji Ranade, that we should not stop with granite memorial, but we should give a call to those young men and women who want to dedicate their life and work for the country.
50 years and counting, the Rock Memorial continues to inspire, telling the story of a journey and mission of one solitary monk who was transformed into Jagat Guru at the shores of Kanyakumari. You have to grow from the inside out. None can teach you, none can make you spiritual. there is no other teacher but your own soul.